Hello and good afternoon. I'm DeAndre, and I'm here with uh, my project partner, Brian Burton. Today, we are going to be going over our project called Sports Report. This is the front-end application, but I primarily want to first get started on talking about some goals, the significance of the project, and the rationale behind it. So, as sports fans, there are so many places to get sports information, and seldom of them are available all in one place. There are a handful of sites, but sometimes there is a paywall or some sort of premium or just a lot of advertising that can be very annoying to navigate. So part of the project was being able to visualize and see sports data, particularly NBA or basketball data all in one place and be able to navigate a website where that is possible and see statistics for individual players, games, and teams over a set of years. In this case, from 2016 to 2023. So that's getting started with the uh, project and some of the design. And now we will be getting into the design of the database. So in the database, we have a handful of tables here as squares, and I'd like to start from top to bottom. We have the user table. As you saw, there is a login page and a sign up page, which I'll demo later. But a user has four attributes, user ID, a favorite team, a username, and a password. And that user can like a particular team. So the team table contains information about about the team. Where's the team? The team name. There's a team code to identify it. That is the primary key. What conference? It's arena, etc., etc. Um, from the team table, there are two sets of relationships. A team can play a game, which is represented by the NBA games full attendance table, and a team can have obviously has players. And then from there, we branch out into more detailed information about games and players. But I'll start first with games. So for each game, there are a there is a team, or an away team and a home team. And each of those teams records some sort of basic stats according to the NBA, such as points, rebounds, assists, et cetera, et cetera. And some advanced stats like true shooting percentage, three-point attempt rate that are used for uh, that are used by teams in order to make better predictions on certain outcomes during a game. And these exist for both a home team and away team. So this is split into four different tables that contain more granular statistics and data for a NBA game. As for the player, it's broken down in a similar way. A player has a team that they play for, but that can change from season to season. So their primary key is just their player ID. A player also plays in games, but these games can be home games and away games, and they would have the same set of uh, uh, advanced and basic stats. So that's an overview of our database. And here is the database with some queries. Ryan will get more into that. And I would also like to add in that in the app, this is hosted on Amazon Web Service, AWS. It's just a relational database that started locally and we connected to a cloud. Ryan, I'll have you take over. Stop sharing.
All right, thank you, Andre. So, so our database also has different tables and schema, which I will. Let's see. There we go. There we go. All right. Let me share my entire screen. All right, perfect. So, all right. Our database has multiple different tables in the schema that allow different types of information to be taken from a player that's very detailed in order to allow people to make decisions when they're looking through our database and through the website. So I'm just going to go over some simple queries that show like how our database retrieves data. So the first query we have is selecting star from the player home game basic stats, where the ID is the specific one for this season. So what this does is it's going to take all the main statistics from the player with ID Curry ST01, which is Stephen Curry, specifically from the 2017 season. This and it displays all of his information, like his 3-point percentage, how many blocks he had, what team he was on, with the team's code, his ID, and all the data that's relevant. The next query is we're going to be selecting all the players by their group name and their season. So our database can also organize them in very specific ways. Or you want to retrieve something. So here we have Anthony, we have his ID, what team he's on, and the season. And if we scroll down, we'll see Jordan Hill on his ID for this season, for this team, and by season. So that's a good way of categorizing all the players into different categories by team and season. So the next query we're going to go to. This one selects their game stats, but joins them with their home team stats, and obtains which ones that the player's game ID and the home team stats game ID coincide. So which players were on a home team? And run this. All right, so we get Carmelo Anthony, and we get the specific players for when they were on a specific home team. We get their percentages, we get their points made during the game, as it goes based off the specific game ID. So all these for players in a specific game. That's how it's grouping them. Where's that query? So this one is an example of a more complex query on our database. So here we have it selecting team code, the date, the total of the game, the home, the season, the game ID, the team code, and more information like the home, what season it was, and the specific game ID. And then we're getting this from the home team basic stats, and we're concatenating it with the away team's basic stats, the game ID. So this is going to give us all the details for all the players on both the home team and the away team for a specific game. So this is a really important data for me to see like what players in a specific team have stats and numbers. There we go. Okay, it's on the corner. So it groups the home team code with the team date, their total, and the home team, all the home team's information, as well as all the away team's information. And one, it shows like, okay, if they're designated as away team or home team, the season, and the game IDs on side. And lastly, we have it doing specific queries. So this one selects from player game stats where the team is the Boston Celtics and their 3-point shots were greater than 2. So they made two or more 3-pointers. Run this. Irving, J.R. Smith, Kevin Love, and it shows all these specific players, LeBron James, whose their 3-point shots were all above 2. So now I'm going to move on to showing how this data can help us be more visualized when we are actually trying to make decisions on it. So I go to our RBI dashboard. So on the dashboard, we have 5 different areas that have been graphed. So I'll start up here. So this area, it is the NBA players ranked by their total number of three-point shots. This is good information because if people want, say, in a scenario where people are betting or where they want to put put money down on a player, it's good to know who's most likely to make the number of three-point shots and who's most likely to not. So this is very good. We have Steph Curry, James Harden, Buddy Hield, etc. The next one, we have the top 11 teams with the highest total points, which is good for ranking teams and assigning teams different players and seeing which players are good on the team. So here we have the Golden State Warriors, who has the total points of 1,000. Next, we have the Milwaukee Bucks, followed by the Boston Celtics, and it continues on and on for those 11. This is a very specific table, so a lot of times in NBA games, certain players can fouls, and that is a detriment to both their team and their statistics as players. So this one ranks the players based on who had the most personal fouls, but it also categorizes them based on what team they were on when they made those fouls. So you see, for instance, PJ Tucker, he was on multiple different teams, even though he had a total number of fouls that number. So it shows, okay, his team code for here was when he made 756. His team code for here was when he made 11. Next, we have the teams ranked by championships won, which is good overall to just show, okay, which teams are most likely to win championships or which are most likely to make it that far. Celtics, they're doing pretty good, as well as the Los Angeles Lakers. Finally, we have the opposite end, which is sometimes you want to know who not to bet for or who not to look for. So here we have the bottom 20 teams that average the least amount of blocks per game. So this is more of a negative statistic to diversify it. So we have Utah Jazz. They made, let's see, they only made 2,000 blocks, which is not that much because more, some teams have over 10,000. So that is not that many. Let's see, last team here, the Sacramento Kings, they only had 1,000. So you know you're considering the statistic of blocking when you're looking for who to bet on or who to consider. You wouldn't consider these 20 teams. So that concludes me talking more about the SQL and the Power BI portion. I'm gonna head back to DeAndre so he can go over more.
Thank you, Brian. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and do a little demonstration of the app. So first we'll start with sign up, and please note the routing. So we are being routed to another page, and we can make a user called Brian. And we'll make a password, and we will select a favorite team. One second. All right. So we will select Ryan's favorite team, which is the Miami Heat, and we'll sign him up. We'll go back to login. We'll use his username and password to log in. And we can see here some scores that have been rendered in. We have an API call to YouTube that embeds a YouTube video into the app. So we have a video here. And we also have some routing. All of this information is being called from the database at a particular endpoint. So if we select this, we can go to the Atlanta Hawks team page and see their last 5 games with their results. We can also take a look at player score or player information. Again, all this information is rendered from our database. So let's take a look at 2022. And we can also apply a filter to, let's say, the Indiana Pacers. So then here we can see Malcolm Brogdon, see all these players, and then once we click, we can get all their team stats again. So here we are, and then we can do the same with scores. So all we have to do is select a particular season, select a month, and we don't have to select this filter here, but we can if we want to just get a better idea of a particular team that we're looking for, let's say the Toronto Raptors. And we can get all their away team and home team scores. And the query being used to get this from the database is one of the queries that Ryan demonstrated for us earlier. So we have incorporated everything into this, and I can even show you the backend query results. So this is our API players, and we can take a look at API players, and we can see our query here that selects the players by group and groups them by name and season. So that is a demonstration of our app. Thank you for joining us, and you guys have a great day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you.